looked down at the pale pink love letter in my hand, and then I looked at little Mia standing before me. I sighed. "I literally attended your parent-teacher meetings at school for you, kiddo," I said. "I'm much older than you. How on earth could we ever be in a romantic relationship?" Mia looked up at me, her eyes flashing with a stubborn, fierce light. "You're only 4 years older than me, Ethan. Why does that make it impossible? I love you," she declared. I couldn't help but chuckle softly, reaching out to ruffle her messy hair. "You're still a child, Mia. You don't truly understand what love is yet. I'm going to treat this letter as the sweet affection a younger sister has for her big brother, okay?" Her entire face turned a vivid shade of crimson. She stomped her foot, turned on her heel, and bolted away. The strange story between me and this little sister actually began a long time ago. My name is Ethan. At 16, I was a prisoner of my own life, a carefully constructed machine built to satisfy my parents' relentless expectations. My existence was a monochrome series of equations and late-night study sessions, until the day I stepped into Leo's house. I was sitting in the living room when Mia walked in. The moment her gaze landed on me, her eyes lit up, sparkling with a brilliance that seemed to capture every ray of sunlight in the room. They were wide, luminous, and filled with an unfiltered curiosity. But she was in deep trouble. Her grades had plummeted, and her teacher was demanding a parent-teacher conference. "Ethan, please, you're the smartest, coolest person I know. Just pretend to be my older brother. If Mom or Leo finds out, I'll be grounded until I'm 30, she pleaded, her voice a desperate, rhythmic chant. At first, I was adamant. The idea of deceiving a teacher felt like a betrayal of my own rigid morals. But Mia was relentless. She tugged at my sleeve, her eyes becoming vast pools of sorrow, and eventually the fortress around my heart began to crumble. I gave in. From that day on, Mia became a master of strategic coincidences. She'd happened to be at the bus stop just as I arrived, holding 2 sodas. "Oh, Ethan, what a surprise! I bought an extra one by mistake, do you want it?" Or she'd accidentally choose the exact same library table where I was studying. I knew exactly what she was doing. I saw the calculated innocence in her eyes and the way she'd blush when I caught her staring. But instead of feeling annoyed, I found it endearing. I played along, pretending to believe her clumsy excuses just so she could feel comfortable in the little world of accidents she had created just for us. After I rejected her letter, Mia vanished from my life for a while, and I thought she had finally moved on. But then came the first day of my senior year. To my utter shock, I ran into her in the hallway. She had just enrolled as a freshman at the same high school. She was no longer the middle schooler I remembered. She had grown, but the fire in her eyes remained the same. She strategically chose me as her senior mentor to ensure she could shadow me everywhere I went. During my senior year, the pressure reached a fever pitch. I began to actively avoid Mia at school, taking the abandoned back stairs and hiding in the chemistry lab during breaks just to evade her overwhelming presence. I was terrified of how she made me feel, and even more terrified of what Leo or my parents would say. The breaking point came after a disastrous final exam. I had failed to achieve the top rank, which in my household was a capital sin. My parents' words were like jagged shards of glass, cutting into my self-worth until I felt small and hollow. I retreated to the riverbank, sitting alone in the gathering shadows, feeling utterly defeated. And then, there she was. Mia didn't approach with questions or pity. She just appeared like a burst of warm sunlight in a frozen tundra. She noticed my slumped shoulders and red-rimmed eyes. Without a word, she ran to the nearby convenience store and returned with a massive bag filled with every type of ice cream and candy imaginable. She sat beside me, urging me to eat, treating my bruised soul with the simple, pure kindness of a child. As the strawberry ice cream melted, I felt the ice inside me melting too. Her presence was a healing balm I didn't know I needed. Under that golden sunset, she made her request, to let her like me until she turned 18. I agreed, setting the condition that she had to get into university. I watched her from afar after that. Leo would complain about how Mia had become a study hermit, locked in her room with textbooks for hours. I felt a surge of profound admiration. I realized then that Mia wasn't just a dreamy teenager. She was a woman of incredible strength and clarity. She had taken a childish crush and turned it into a powerful fuel for her own future. And I felt a quiet pride growing in my chest for the girl who was growing up for me. I eventually won a full scholarship to study abroad, a ticket to the future my parents had always envisioned. On the day of my departure, Mia chased me all the way to the airport, her breath coming in ragged gasps as she handed me a carefully wrapped gift. "See you in 3 years, Ethan," she whispered, her voice thick with unshed tears. Studying abroad was a monochrome existence of lectures and cold, sterile dorm rooms. When news reached me that my parents had finally divorced and sold our childhood home, I lost the very idea of belonging. In that void of isolation, Mia's letters were the only things that felt real. I found myself falling for her, not in a sudden lightning strike, but in a slow, steady tide that eventually consumed my entire being. It was a silent transformation. I'd be walking through a snow-covered park or tasting a new dish, and my first thought would always be, "I wish Mia could see this," or "Mia would love the flavor of this." I began to cherish the mundane details of her life that she shared in her energetic, messy handwriting. Her letters weren't just paper, they were a lifeline. I realized that the little sister I had tried to protect was now the only person in the world who truly knew me. I began to count the days until her 18th birthday, realizing that the wait wasn't for her benefit anymore. It was for mine. I was a man who had everything, yet I felt like a beggar waiting for the next envelope from a girl 5,000 miles away. The moment of absolute clarity came when a brilliant, beautiful classmate at my university confessed her feelings for me. She was a perfect match on paper, someone my parents would have heralded as a success. But as she spoke, my mind didn't process her words. Instead, it conjured an image of Mia, her sparkling eyes, her messy hair, her stubborn pout. I realized then that I had never rejected Mia with the cold finality I was using now. Throughout my life, Mia had been the only exception to every rule I had ever set for myself. I looked at the small, sturdy birthday cake she had made for me out of fired clay, a clumsy, beautiful object that had traveled across an ocean to find me. It represented years of waiting, years of loyalty, and a love that had grown stronger in the silence. My heart felt like it was overflowing. I couldn't even wait for the semester to end. I understood now that I hadn't been waiting for her to grow up. I had been waiting for myself to be brave enough to admit that I was lost without her. She wasn't just a memory of home, she was home. I booked my ticket that same night, driven by a desperate, beautiful urgency to finally give her the answer her soul deserved. Christmas Eve was a symphony of falling snow and golden streetlights. I stood outside her house, my heart hammering against my ribs with the same frantic energy Mia used to have. When my phone buzzed and her voice erupted in a joyous scream, "Ethan, I got in! I'm going to university!" I felt a tear escape my eye. "I knew you could do it, Mia. You're incredible. Look down from your window," I whispered. I saw her face appear at the glass, her expression shifting from confusion to absolute, stunned disbelief. She disappeared from the window, and seconds later, the front door burst open. She didn't walk. She flew down the steps, a whirlwind of energy that crashed into my arms. I held her tight, the cold air between us disappearing in the heat of our embrace. I buried my face in her hair, finally breathing in the scent of home. "I love you, Mia," I whispered into her ear, the words a sacred vow after 5 long years. "I've always loved you." The promise made by a 13-year-old girl under a riverbank sunset had finally been fulfilled by the man who realized he was the luckiest person on earth.
My one-sided love began when I was 13, and it finally found its home when I turned 18. He confessed to me. The love that defined my entire adolescence finally had the beautiful ending I had only dared to dream of. So please, be brave in pursuing your love, everyone. Have faith, because eventually, you will receive the response your heart has been longing for. Thank you so much for listening to the story of Ethan and Mia. give us a